Stefanie, our next keynote speaker with us. So she's going to speak on the complaint disruptor, Sanofi's revolutionary path through regulatory terrain, a topic that blends innovation with compliance in a truly unique way. So Stephanie, we are excited to have you here with us. So please do introduce yourself and take us through your session.
Thank you. So I will have a presentation. I really liked the presentation of Amber. It was more interactive. I will do it a bit more classical because I have some slides prepared for you. And let's see if I can make that working. Can you see my slides? Is it
Yes,
working?
we can.
Perfect. Okay. As it was said, I will tell you something about our journey at Sanofi. And from my perspective, it is quite interesting. I work in Agile. I will tell you something about that a bit later, but since a few years, and it is something special in Sanofi because I'm working not with IT teams. It is not about software engineering. It is not about developing software. It is really working with teams in sales, marketing, field-based teams, medical teams, and it is quite interesting field because we are focusing really on the key messages and the core idea behind agile working. Quite nice from my perspective. Hopefully, you see the same at the end of my presentation. And feel free to ask questions also in between. I will try to deep dive a bit as we can do that with the given time. So, we heard it from Amber, the golden circle. I will follow the same approach. I think it is quite usual in Agile, and I think it is always a good one. So now you are in the right mindset, and you know how I will approach that, and we will do the same things. And at the end, I will try to summarize a bit our learnings on the journey of transformation. So let's see how it goes. I told you I will tell you something about me. I'm agile coach really since 15 years, and I do it because I'm absolutely convinced that it is the right way to work and that it is a nice thing. And after 15 years, some people ask me, is it maybe boring? You're always doing the same thing. But for me, it is always a nice thing. I'm always curious because all of the teams, all of the people I'm working with are unique. Maybe the obstacles, the challenges are not unique, but we try to find good solutions that really fits to the needs of the people. It is not one form fits all. And I will not tell you something about implementing SAFe or how you do Scrum. You can do other trainings to learn something about that. I will really talk about in framework agnostic approach that we used here. So I'm happy to learn also with this team today. So let's see what I learned, why we did that. So in Sanofi, as I said, we started the journey of making a transformation, not on the software engineering side, really on the people side, especially the people that are working with customers. Customers needs or customer means in our case, I will dive in this topic a bit later, deeper means not software customers and most of the time also not end customers. But we have a quite complex healthcare ecosystem, and I'm not talking only about Germany or Germany, Switzerland. I talk about really the different markets and countries that Sanofi serves, and that is more or less the whole world. Maybe not each and every country, but it is around the globe. So we identified some general challenges, and one of the main challenges is really that the healthcare ecosystem has changed and the needs of the customer has changed. And we have to be able to work closer to the customer. And that was the reason why we decided to create the customer first operating model, to be closer to the customer and not doing things beside the customer. That is the idea behind that, because we want to improve people's life. And we have two elements in this journey on the how side. That is the cultural change. so the change in mindset and the way we work. And that is a more technical change. That means that we use AI as tools to support our work, to make our work more efficient. So these are the components, and I will walk you through these things a bit in the next slides. It is not working. No. Okay, here I have the 5 overarching challenges that we have identified across all markets. So it is not depending on a specific market, it is really some challenges that we have in general in the healthcare system or in the pharma industry. That is, on the one hand side, that the health needs of population have increased. That means people getting older, and at the same time, it is hard to access healthcare. So, and that leads also to the point more digital technologies. So, latest since Corona, people are able to use also e-health opportunities and all of these things. But sometimes it is also needed to do these things because the next doctor is 300 kilometers away and I do not have a car. So it is quite nice to have these opportunities, but we also have to use these opportunities and help our clients, our customers to use that as well. So especially the healthcare professionals, so the doctors, that they doing these things, and we can support that as pharma industry as well. On the one hand side, the population is getting older. On the other hand, the doctors are getting younger. So we have also a lot of young doctors that have the expectation that they can give feedback, that they can have interaction, and that we as pharma industry fulfill their needs and not only bring them paper and tell them, oh, we have nice products, please do that and this. That is not the idea behind that. The world has changed, and also the expectations. You heard a lot about expectations from Amber, so also the expectation from our customers, not only from the patient, also from the healthcare professionals. And it is a really, really regulated market. So the regulations have good reasons, but they increase worldwide. And that is something that we have to keep in mind. We cannot do everything. We have hard regulations. We have legal and compliance regulations, and we should keep them in mind and work with them and not against them. And at the same time, we have competitors on the market, and we are all under pressure. It is quite hard. Maybe you know a bit about health products or pharmaceutical products. They have also a life cycle. You have a life cycle in software engineering products. That is the time where the clients want to use that, and maybe you have some changes in the technology paradigm or something like that, and then you have to change or you have to end the life cycle of your software. In medical products, it is more about licenses. So you are making research, then you have a license for a product, and if you are at the end of the life cycle, then other companies can do the same product, can use the development, the research that you did in the past. So if that happens, you have a quite competitive market, and that is something that we also have to keep in mind. And that customer first operating model that helps us also to understand where we should focus on. So we have identified also some values for our teams. So what is in the model for them? So on the journey of transformation, we have to clarify why we are doing that. And it is always good in a change process to include the message why I should be convinced to do that change. Why? What is in it for me as an employee? Why should I be convinced and happy that I now have an agile coach that is telling me how to do things in another way of working? So I should understand that. And we have identified here some overarching things that are true also for all the markets that we serve. Simplify the organization. That means we want to make the decision pathways and decision-making processes much faster. So not having a global decision on each and everything, putting it in smaller teams and enable them to make their own decisions based on regulations for sure, but that they are a bit more empowered and also have some autonomy. Then we want to strengthen the team relationship. So we do not have only people that walk alone and do their work and maybe totally successful, but changing world, changing requirements from the customers. We have to work as cross-functional teams. We have to use different functions. And if we are closer together, we are at the first point again, we can make faster decisions how we can approach things, how we can solve problems, how we can find a good solution for our clients. Next thing, enhancing skills. Of course, in the change process, we have to provide some skills. We have to train the people in the ways of working. We have to train the people how they can use the technologies. If we give them an iPad instead of paper, we have to train them how to use that and how to include that in a good conversation with the health professionals. So all of these things are good things for the people because they can make the next step. They can make the step in more digital work. They also can use digital tools on the iPad, not only in the interaction with the customer, also to understand their success. So using the data, using all of the numbers that they need to make sure that we are on the right track with our strategy. And last but not least, it is about empowerment and fostering autonomy. If the teams can make short decisions, or if our decision-making process is shorter and we have more autonomy in the team, we are getting faster. It is more fun and it is not so frustrating to wait for years, for ages, to have a global decision about something. It is a nice thing, but on the other hand, you have to take the lead, you have to be brave and make decisions. Nice thing, I think, from my perspective, that is one of the best advantages ever, because you can move things forward if you believe in the solution, if you understand where it makes sense, it is a lot of fun. Then the how. So, how we did that. I brought you here our vision for the customer first operating model. We provide the best in class healthcare professional and patient experience anytime, anywhere, and unlock our growth potential, transforming our ways of working and fostering a dynamic customer centric culture. I think quite nice and powerful words, but from my perspective, they make a lot of sense and they show where we want to go and also why it makes sense, what will change, what are the advantages. So always good things. And our mission really connects to these things. Designing a customer-centric organization and responsive business model that delivers the right solution at the right time and place. So anywhere, anytime, and at the right place, the right solution at the right time. We aim to cultivate an agile mindset, empower our teams, and leverage data-driven decision-making. I think that includes also the different aspects, the cultural aspect, and also the transformation to more digital work, more data-driven decisions. So to put more decision-making opportunities to the team, we need also this component that they are able to do good decisions. So we started for sure, on a traditional approach. That means we had salespeople that had really predefined messages for products, and they had to repeat that and repeat again, and then they could go to the healthcare professionals and tell them this message and not something else. That is quite compliant, but it is maybe not what the customer needs. So we changed that, and also complex decision-making process. If you want to adapt something in the messaging, oh, that is a quite hard decision-making process. You have to wait for ages. We do not need that. But regulated, regulated field, so we have to be clear what is possible, what not. But still, we have a lot of things that the people can really decide in the field, and that is why we implemented this customer first operating model. So we have as the first priority the customer needs, and we also think about the experience that we have with the customers. And we decided that we want to go more on eye level with the healthcare professionals or with the customers in general. And therefore, we have to talk more freely. We have to unlock the growth potential. We have to be a bit flexible. And we have to empower the teams that they developing new ideas, maybe having co-creation projects instead of only presenting something to the customers. So quite nice things. How we did that. So I said customer is a bit more tricky for us. It is on the one hand side, the healthcare professional, HCP, the patient, and the payers. That means insurances, something like that. So somebody who will pay for the health opportunity that we provide. And then we have this view to our customers. So from Sanofi's side, we have a huge background. It is maybe only one person that is the face to the customer, one person from the field team, but we have a lot of experience behind that. We have office-based teams. That means we have marketing teams that are developing some material and all of these nice, interesting things. Then we have the Center of Excellence, COE, that is somebody like me. These are the agile coaches that are in the background teaching the people how to organize the processes, how to improve the collaboration across the teams. And then we have the ecosystem around that. So everything that we have in general as functions in the company. So interesting environment. Maybe only one person is visiting the customer, but we have a huge team of, we always call it or often call it superheroes that support really the customer experience. And we are also measuring our success. That means, on the one hand side, as it is in all traditional approaches, we are measuring against business KPIs. That means market share, growth, return on invest, all the classic things. Because we are a company, we have to do that. It is the usual way to do that. And we have to see also, especially in sales, we want to see if we are successful on the market. It is also a need for our employees. They want to see and feel that. But on the other hand, we are also measuring the customer experience. That means we ask for feedback. We ask the healthcare professionals, what do you think? What can we improve to make your life easier? In which fields we can help you and support you to maybe network or something like that? Because maybe they know everything about our product, but they do not have the connection to other healthcare professionals that they would need to ensure a smooth patient pathway. So maybe we can organize an event. We can bring them together and let them talk. So all of these things, and we can measure that. We can ask then the customer, was it a good interaction? Could we help? And the last but not least component is inside view. That means our employees. It is a change process. So we have to ensure that they are still engaged and motivated and that they feel okay with the change. So we have a survey that is called Your Voice, and we are measuring, are the people feel engaged with the new way of working? And could we increase that compared to traditional approach? And our numbers said yes. That is again something with the different perspectives, as I said, customer centric, data driven. Glocal is a bit funny thing, funny word, because it is the merge of global approaches that we customize to local circumstances. Nice thing, and that makes also more efficient. Then we want to support and develop our talents, our employees. We want to bring them further. We want to help them to understand data, to use AI-driven tools and all of these things. Of course, agile working. And we want to still have a look to our outcomes and work on our ambition. So all the different perspectives are still relevant. That is an overview. We have at the moment 13 markets, not only countries, it is markets where we implemented the customer first operating model. So it is not only GSA, is Germany, Switzerland, and Austria, it is really around the globe. These are the countries that have already implemented the customer first operating model in different business units. Now, the what? So again, I said 13 countries currently, but I want to show you a bit our journey. We started in 2022 with the first speedboat in Switzerland. They implemented the first approach of customer first operating model. And in parallel, we started the change management process with the leaders in general medicine. This is one of the business units because our approach is top down. If the leaders really understand why we want to change, why we want to implement a new way of working, and if we can convince them, then they can convince their people. They are talking to them, they can engage them, they can take the people on the journey. And that is the most important thing because we can maybe show some nice slides, but if the people are not understanding why we should do that, and especially on leader level, we will not get anything. So that is our starting point, and our North Star, our goal is in 2026 full adoption of a customer first operating model in all markets. So we are still on the journey. We have a bit on the run, but we did also good steps in the right direction. These are the 5 steps that we identified that we want to do. You see, we do not have frameworks on it. It is not about really you have to do this and that is the rule. You have to follow that. Of course, we have a playbook. We have some ideas. We have some recommendations, some good practices. But these are really boiled down the 5 points that we need. First, strategy. The why we are doing these things, why we want to implement that, what is in it for you, why you should believe in the idea of changing the way of working. Then the values, what are the principles? That is especially for agile leadership, to understand I have to empower the people, and empowerment needs trust. I have to delegate something. I have to hand over a bit of my power. It is, from my perspective, a totally nice thing. But for a leader, it is also connected to being afraid, to have some uncertainties. Do I have enough power? Still, if I give something, if I empower my team, maybe I will tell you for sure, yes, you have. It is getting more powerful because you have then really the capacities to do other things, to do things with more impact. And that is a nice thing. And you will get a lot of good ideas from your team. That is the most powerful thing ever. So, and then the governance. So we have some recommendations, but the recommendations are really, really high level. It is not something compared to a framework, to a full-fledged framework. It is really what kind of structures, roles, and responsibilities we need to align to be successful and to be able to react on changes in the market, in our environment, all of these things. And then we talk about processes and ways of working. So what kind of best practices we need, what kind of tools we need maybe. And then last but not least, technology. What kind of technical support do we need or do we have to train and implement to make that happen? So quite nice thing, only 5 things. So I told you something about field-based, office-based teams. Now you see the whole picture. We have 4 different components. We have the office-based teams, office-based medical, and marketing, and omnichannel, that is the digital team that supports with all the digital things. Then we have the field-based teams. These are the customer-facing teams. The teams, sales, field-based medical, market access, that really go to the healthcare professionals. They have the interaction. They have really getting also the feedback, and they have to bring it back also to the office-based team. Because if we do not connect the dots, it will not work. And then we have the Center of Excellence. That is my part, not only my part, but there we have the so-called CFOM roles. That means agile coaches, supportive functions to make the processes happen, to support, to measure the data, to make analysis, to provide dashboards, all of these things. And then we have the ecosystem. That means we have all the legal things, we have the tools that we use in general, Zoom and all of these things. But the most important thing is we really need all the 4 components. We need cross-functional work. And you know that from agile working, you always have something like a inspect and adapt cycle. So we collaborate, cross-functional team, we deliver inside our team, but also to the customer. We reflect on the things that we are doing and we improve. Most important thing. Not only reflection, also improving things, always small steps. Also on the deliver part. It is not the full-fledged solution that takes ages. It is small first increment. Having a hypothesis and doing it. So fast decision-making processes, as I said. I don't want to read this slide, it is a lot of text, but to give you an idea, what is the change? So our salespeople are not called salespeople anymore, that they have a nice new name. They are now customer experience manager, because that is what they should do. They should manage the experience with our customers, and they should do that as a team. They should do it not as a single fighter. They should do it as a team. And that is really something new. And that took a bit for the people to understand what does that mean and what is the power behind that. Because usually people say, I do it alone. It is faster, all good. But if you go to a client and that is not resonating with your message, what shall I do? Maybe one of my colleagues has a good idea. And if I can share that, if I can make the knowledge sharing and all of these things, maybe I'm more successful. And if I can provide the feedback from customer to marketing and have a regular connection, then maybe I have also the better material. I can send them emails to my customer that helps them to make progress. I talk with them about something, about my product, and then I talk about medical studies or something like that. And I ask my medical colleague, hey, can you send my client this nice, cool study and explain them how to use that or how to read that? Nice thing. You have a value for the customer and they feel good and supported, and that resonates with their needs. So all of these things are quite important, but the most important is also the empowered entrepreneur. We need people that are with their minds in decision-making processes. They feel empowered enough and they understand that they have to do that, that they have to take the lead, that they have to make steps forward, but they are also enabled to do that, empowered. So, and we have not only single fighters, we have now a team. That means we have also two components that they have to handle. That was not the easiest process to really get the people to a stage where they understand why it makes totally sense to do that. But now they are totally convinced and happy to meet, also if they cannot go to the client during a meeting. So that was a bit the challenge. Hey, I want to have more time with my clients. Why should I meet my colleagues? But with the learnings that they share and the experiences that they all have from the field and can share in their sessions and talk about the strategy and how to really reach their goals. Think about strategy. What is our hypothesis? What can we do for example, next 3 months? And should we see something in our numbers after 3 months? This kind of conversations bring them forward, and that makes this way of working really efficient. Same for the office-based teams, also a huge change. The most important point for me is this push versus pull principle. They started in the traditional way. We develop material, we put it out no matter what. But now they really get the feedback from the field, what they need. So we are producing things that are really needed, that is more purposeful. So makes more sense for each and everyone. We also have not cast something in stone. But one thing that we recognized is that we have 3 flight levels. And on different flight levels, we make different kind of decisions. So on the highest flight level, we have really the decision about what are the priorities, what is the direction we want to go. On the middle flight level, we align on these things. We are making the plan, the OKRs, how to reach that. We break it down and we understand how we can make local decisions from global strategy. And on the team level, we have to decide how to do that in each and every day, how to bring that to the customers and how to connect dots, the cross-functional dots. And that is one example, really high level, on the idea how people can use that in their governance process. That means in the meetings that they have to implement. That only shows that we need, in the different levels, we need touch points where we come together and make decisions together and align on the next steps that we want to do. That can really variate from market to market, but that is really the boiled down essence. You have to have some touch points across the different flight levels. So I said that before, the 3 pillars to measure our success. That is the most important thing. Customer satisfaction, most important thing. Business success for a company, always important, but also employee engagement. We need people that really want to work like this and feel that it is more beneficial for their day-to-day life. Our learnings in a nutshell. So we adjusted a bit the Agile Manifesto to our needs. I will not walk you through this slide, but the essence, the core message or the learning that we did, think Agile beyond IT. and focus on the core ideas. It is not about frameworks. It is really about think about what does it mean individuals before or over processes and tools. What does it mean for my area, for my way of working, for the people I'm working with? It is beyond IT. I know it is the easiest thing in IT because a lot of people have material about that, but it is absolutely possible for other teams as well. And for me, really core message, purpose is the driver of the transition. That is a bit the same as we heard in the first part. Amber said, uh, the why. I have to understand the why. Why should I do that? Why we are more successful with these things, and what is the purpose? And for us, we want to improve the life of people. We could not have a better purpose from my perspective. Next thing is maybe you know this picture about autonomy and alignment, and we want to be in this corner with the highest autonomy and highest alignment. And it makes sense because people can participate there. They know the North Star. They know why they should do the things. And they can create own ideas. They can really participate. And they have to be empowered to do that. So the leaders have to understand, why should I empower my team? Because of that, because they can really be part of solutions, and they can think about solutions and not being the poor people that have to do a task list each and every day. So from my perspective, I'm a huge fan of some of the agile frameworks, but to reduce that, to not follow a framework or to violate a framework, only to do something like agile, maybe reduce that to the main idea, core idea of agile principles, and think about how you can implement that with the people so that they are convinced. Do a good Kanban instead of a bad Scrum. Better idea from my perspective. So, and do not talk about tools. I don't want to have conversations about Jira anymore. And it is quite nice with salespeople. You're not talking about these things. I tell them, do whatever you need to visualize your work and to have the conversation and the interaction in your team. If you use something, some chat tools and share things, fine for me. If you can keep the overview, all good. So it's all about expectations, as Amber said. So it is a nice connection. So you have to talk about the expectations, that the people feel empowered and take the lead and make progress. I also like the Elmo thing. Focus on the conversation. And if you are far away from the conversation, take the Elmo. So last, I think it is the last one, leadership. We need the leadership to, as the first step, if they understand what we want to do with a transition, with a transformation, and if you have them on board, you can make the next step. And take the time, repeat, repeat, repeat again. It is not getting tired, because you should always keep in mind, especially as an agile coach or change manager, if you are something like that in the company, you are 10 steps ahead all the teams. You have thought about all these things 10 times more. So you have to repeat that 11 times so that the people are on the same page as you are. And it is not that the people don't want to understand that, it is that they take the time to understand that. And you should trust in motivated people. They are not against you, they are not fighting against you. They only need the time to understand that and to handle their uncertainties. And you can help them. So trust in motivated people. All of these people really want the same thing as you want. Ah, that is a, that is a nice slide. that shows a bit how volatile this governance thing can be. That is a bit the slide as I showed you with only the pillars on the 3 flight level, what kind of meetings you need. And that is what can happen if you have a lot of different expectations and you have to adapt a lot. But inspection and adaptation, okay, there is a letter missing, but inspection and adaptation based on maturity of the team and the organization is a really, really nice tool. Try to change things. As I said, maybe framework agnostic, whatever is needed in the maturity level where we are, then you can provide the right the right step to the right time. And for me, the most important thing, recognize and celebrate progress and success. As agile coach and with teams, really be proud of the teams that they made the next step, reflect them and tell them that they did a good job and make them recognize that they developed. That is so nice also for you to recognize your work. So don't forget that. Questions?
Team, if anyone has any questions, maybe one question we can ask Stephanie. Maybe you can just drop the message. Okay, what is the KAM?
KAM is a key account manager. Quite easy. That was an easy one.
Okay. So,
And KOL is a key opinion leader. Sorry for all these short forms. Key opinion leader. Yeah.
yeah.
These are the healthcare professionals. They can influence other healthcare professionals in their decision-making processes to be convinced about some medical decisions.
Nirmala, I could see Shekhar raised his hand. I'm allowing him to ask the question.
Nagashekar.
Yeah, I would just like to understand, Stefanie. I mean, is it nothing to do with software development rather than deployment of what you are trying to do?
I'm not 100% sure if I get your question right, but
I mean, is it the agile implementation what you have done? Is it related to a software development activity, or is it more of a deployment of your Sanofi
it,
products across the globe?
it is absolutely not connected to any software product. It
Yep.
is really absolutely disconnected. It is about salespeople and medical people that are communicating with healthcare professionals and talking about our products and try to convince them that we have really good solutions to make people's life easier or better.
Yeah. Okay. I mean,
It is,
that's a non. I mean, that's a good example of non-IT implementation of agile. At least that was really good.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for asking the question. Okay, so team, you would be getting a poll in your screen, so we request everyone to take that poll. So that's really required for all of us. As previous session we heard how feedback is important, so let's implement from the current session onwards. And thank you so much, Stephanie, for sharing your transformational journey. It was both thought-provoking as well as so practical. And you showed us like how we can bring new ideas to life while still following the rules and agile manifesto, and how putting customer needs first can lead to the real impact. And as per the data also, the companies that prioritize customer experience, which will generate 60% of higher profits than their competitors. That's what it shows. And I could see like Ritu has also given some good numbers. Maybe it somehow relates with that as well. So once again, thank you so much. And we really appreciate your time and everything, whatever you have shared us today. So one key thing is like customer is the key. That is the main message for all of us, which are taking it out from your session. Once again, thank you so much. Team, can we have a quick applaud? Virtual claps.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.